Good evening, everyone. Okay, so today I welcome everyone to the session, a special session rather, on National Innovation Day, and I need not tell why we observe this day. It's the birthday of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and today is the 89th birthday of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and his contributions to the nations are unvaluable, I must say, and yeah, which are priceless actually, because what he has done for the country, what are the innovation, his book itself, Ignite Minds, tells what he has and what he thinks about the youth of the nation, what they have the capability about the innovation. And today we have along with us Mr. Sabyasachi Mukhopadhyay, the Google developer expert of machine learning and the Facebook developer lead of Kolkata section, along with us to uh, discuss on this, what is innovation, and what are the sectors of innovation, how students can involve themselves in innovation, what are the thought process. We'll all discuss all this with Mr. Sabyasachi Mukhopadhyay. So I welcome him on the screen. uh, Welcome. I hope you are doing well. I hope you are the pink of your health, Sabyasachi sir. And yeah, he has been speaking today. Even before this, he had a session. And thanks for accepting the request of joining us today. Because
Most welcome.
yeah, you like, I'm really grateful he joined with us a very short notice. I just gave him a call and said that the college wants him, and thank you for joining.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, Sanket. Thanks you very much for inviting me here. And basically, NCC is very close to my heart. The USR is there. There are a lot of young, brilliant minds are there who are doing really well in their job lives and as well as in their student life. So basically, this is an institute which is creating impact on the West Bengal education scenario. So it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you, Shobhasachita. So, moving on towards this session, according to you, what is innovation? Or when do you tell it's an innovation? Is it something that it has to have a rocket science, or is it something which can be very simple as well?
Well, actually, you see, the word innovation is quite tricky, you see, because whenever you are bringing down some new ideas or even scaling up some existing ideas, it can be in terms of the innovation, it can be in terms of creative arts and all. So basically, something new it may be a new packaging, it may be a new designing, so everything comes under the innovation. So if you try to understand in terms of in terms of the technology, your patent is also your innovation, your copyright is also your innovation, your trademark is also your innovation. Now those are the students, they might get confused that what are the difference between patent, whatever the term we are using, copyright and trademark. So let me tell you one thing, that you right from the beginning, I know that, and always remember one thing, that everybody in this world, they have their own set of innovations within them. It is our responsibility to identify the potentials, okay, and according to that we should do the justifications. So as per the Indian government scenario, if you try to understand these three classification, patent, trademark and copyright, why I am telling that, because whenever you are coming up with some new things, new ideas, new creativity, you should make copyright protected, or IP protected, what we call. So basically, if your innovation is completely based on the softwares, nowadays a lot of students, Sanket is quite aware that even in any NSEC is one of the most resource of those innovations. A lot of students are doing brilliant stuffs. So basically, if you are bringing innovation in terms of the softwares, so you can go for the copyright, because if the innovation is not attached with any kind of hardware segments, government of India does not grant patent. So if your innovation is a good hybridization of software hardware approach, or it is completely based on hardware, you can go for patent filing. If you are coming up with a new kind of design, remember, it's not only about the software development. If you are coming up with a new kind of design, that comes under the trademark policies. So there are ample opportunities that whatever the creativity you have within you, it can be in terms of technological aspect, it can be in terms of creative arts and other aspects. You should protect, you should get the credentials whatever you deserve. So there are three ways: patent, copyright, trademark. Whatever the domain your creativity belongs to, try to protect it. Okay, that's the motto. Because remember that if you have attended our last talk, I mentioned one thing, that we have to work hard but in a smart manner, right? So be smart, try to protect your innovations, and try to work on the scalability factors such that your innovation can create impact on billions of lives.
Right. So I have one more question here. When we talk about innovation, people tend to think it's only about tech and all those things. Innovation can happen in other domains as well. If I
Absolutely,
talk
absolutely,
about arts, if
absolutely.
I talk about
Exactly.
creative art as well, right? Innovations can happen there as well. So
Absolutely.
many of the people think that when we talk about innovation or something, inventing something, it's all only pondering to tech. But as personally, I do not believe that it can be in
No,
any something. Like
any domain.
I will share one example. So basically, there was a guy who was in hospital, right? Now, what
Hmm.
happened is he was getting treated for chemotherapy, right? So everything had to be very clean in his room. Now, what happened is there was a dustbin, right? That dustbin, he couldn't throw the apple he was eating because there were germs, as instructed by the office staff, hospital staffs. So he just like he was a class 8 9 guy, and he does not know so much of tech, but he had read that the UV ray has potential to kill the skin cells, right? Because the ozone layer, that is, it's like it protects us, right? He said, why can't we put a UV ray, UV light in the dustbin? The germs will get killed. And that's actually a great innovation. It was presented at the National Science Congress back in 2014. Right? So it's not always too much of tech. It's rather like many a times it happens our day-to-day life. We try to innovate something.
Exactly.
It might be in the field of arts as well. What are your views?
Absolutely, absolutely. As I mentioned already, that you see, first of all, our whatever the innovation, everybody has their innovative minds. It depends which segment you are using. For example, you can take the copyright with your unique story, unique script. Okay, so you have seen a lot of production companies, they go for the copyright filing of their script if that is found to be unique. You can take, for example, you have an idea to design a pen in a different way than in case of the and than the traditional ways. So you can go for making trademark as well. You may remember at the end of the 90s era, the cello got trademark because of their unique style. Because earlier days, whatever the concept of the pen designing, cello has a little bit of attractive design structure, which attracted and made hike the sale of the cello pen. So they took the trademark of their unique design. So because of that, there are ample opportunities. It's not only about that you have to be a data scientist, or you have to always bring the innovations through IoT. It's not like that. But we often take those examples because at the end of the day, we are the tech guys, so we can relate with each other's thought. If we talk
Right.
about data science, we talk about cyber security. If we talk about IoT, that's it. But do not think that the innovation is only limited to that barrier. Okay.
I raised up this question like I am from a tech background, as you are, and most of the people here, and I hear it a lot of time. People saying like, "You guys think you can only wait, we can't." So it's not like that. We
Hmm.
from our side make it clear that innovation can come from anywhere in
Yeah,
any
absolutely,
field innovation.
absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
Exactly. So, my next question would be like, when a guy or when a student comes to college, or any time, it can be a class 5 6 guy as well, because innovation can come at any age, right? It might not have too much of maths or kind of stuff, but it can be very much innovative. Like we used to make paper planes, we used to make the structure of the plane so that it flies higher. Even these are innovations that we try at the very early age. If someone wants to channelize a thought process of innovation, what do they do? Like if a particular guy wants, okay, I want to do research, right? I need to innovate something. is there a proper channel process or is it random?
Well, look, as I mentioned, that we all have our own innovations, but this the pathway is quite confusing. Students do get perplexed that which path we should follow for bringing down the innovation. So that's why your proper mindset framework is very, very important. Okay, that in the which way you are thinking, whether your philosophy is correct or not. So that philosophical thought process should have a right way of path. In, for example, recently I was invited as a chief guest for inaugurating the hackathon of NIT Durgapur. So I was discussing, they have also the same question. So basically what I call it as the idea hexagon. Okay, so first of all, you always have to think about that what is next. Okay, so in case of this, if you look at the spelling next, NEXT, so what is that X factor within it? Whenever I want to innovate something, my question is what's next? This is existing, what's next? Now focus on the X of this next. So basically, you see, if you see how the innovation has started, if we talk about the data science background, data, we have data, okay, audio, okay, speech. After the speech, then comes text, then comes images, okay. But from image, we have started towards next. What is next? That is video. So
Video.
we have moved from 2D to 3D. But if you see the Flickr was sold for few $1,000,000. But what was the valuation of YouTube? $1.6 billion. So are you getting my point? So always the next X, always will be in your mind that this is existing. What the barrier I can push and go to the next, no, go to the next level. Or what you can do, you can think about, there are a few ways you can think about some hybridized approach. Okay, X plus Y. Like you see, we have seen that there are a lot of narrow lanes. If you come to the side of Howrah and even in Kolkata, there are a lot of areas you may observe that there are a lot of narrow lanes. For example, if somebody is very much sick, okay, in many cases ambulances is not being able to penetrate those paths. Okay, there are a lot of limitations on those narrow lanes. So what else? If we can use the backside of the ambulances with the front engine of auto, if you can fit that. So these are the ways that always be good observer what is happening in front of you and try to resolve it. So in that case, what you are doing, you are using the front engine of auto, you are attaching with the backside of the ambulances. So that is basically the carrier of your patient. Okay, the backside of ambulance. So once you are
Right.
attaching them, because these two are the completely different, but you are utilizing their beneficiaries, you are clubbing them together. So you are basically making a hybridized approach, X plus Y. So first thing I mentioned about X. Second thing I mentioned about clubbing two heterogeneous thing. The more the things are heterogeneous, if you club them, the more it becomes effective. So clubbing two different things, X plus Y approach. Or you can what you can do, you can scale up. What are the procedure? For example, all of we know that nowadays we store data in cloud, we do the analytics there, right? But what happens? So continuously sending data to cloud, what happens? Due to congestion, there are latencies. So what are the other option we are thinking? Remember that current existing innovation, there is an existing innovation, we have the hammer in our hand, but due to the shortcomings there, what are the nails we can hit? What are the alternative options we can go for that? So what we are doing, look how people thinks in this way. So as there is so much congestion in cloud, what are the alternative approaches we take? We come with edge computing, we come with the concept of the fog computing. Edge computing is on-premise analytics. Okay, so basically whatever the easier analytical part is there, we can easily contribute with the low processor devices like smartphone and all those things. So always we are going for the alternative approach. Okay, or you have the alternative approach in your hand. For example, you have the edge analytics in your hand. Then how can you know the what are the nails? Then what's the hammer behind that? You have to always think about the reverse way as well. So basically, when you go by the edge computing, you know that complicated computational stuffs will not be possible with the low processor device. So again, you have to go back to cloud as well. So existing innovation and upcoming innovation, there should be a joint point. Either this is hammer, these are the nails, or these are or if you give a nail, you should find out the hammer as well. So these all are connected with each other. Okay, so all it doesn't mean that always we have to come up with some innovative stuff. So rather than you can utilize the existing thing in a tricky way, and you can do the miracles. So we have seen the four factors: x from next, x plus y approach, x upwards approach. For example, given hammer, what are the nails? And x downward approach. For example, you have the given nail, you have to find out the root of the hammer. And another one is the augmentation, x plus plus. What is the augmentation? For example, nowadays we often use data science. Basically, the data science, machine learning, AI, IoT, we mainly use for the healthcare, agriculture. These are the frequent areas people use. But you see, these particular exploration, so much exploration in this domain, encourage the management people to utilize the data science in their domain also. People nowadays using AI for the recruitment purpose, CV sort selection purpose. Everywhere they are using the AI. So that means it is not limited to the application, not limited to technology people. It has moved to the management people as well. So influencing others. That means you are augmenting the domain, you are making the approach ubiquitous. So that is very, very important. That analogous, we're thinking of the analogous way, like this field, they have approach in this way. So can I augment that dimension? Can I go to any other field to make it that kind of approach? So analogous thought process is very, very important. So this is the fifth point. Even that's why there is so much popularity of data science and business analytics. You may see BBA, MBA programs are being launched by several universities. And the sixth way is the reverse process of thinking, which you call the reverse addressing problems. So what can be the reverse addressing problems? So basically, if for example, like our basic study process, if you see, we are always have seen that in science technology we always talk about the reverse process approach, like spatial domain, time and signal. Signal and noise are always in the convoluted format. When you go to frequency domain, they becomes multiplicative format. When signal noise is in the convoluted format in the frequency domain, when we come back to the spatial domain, they become the multiplicative format. So this is the vice versa approach. Time frequency, if you see, always we jump between spatial domain to frequency domain, frequency to spatial domain. So these are the inverse problems. Okay, so always reverse procedure approach is also very, very important. That whatever the problem I am solving, is that applicable for the spatial domain or the frequency domain? So according to that, you make the trade-off. Okay, like if you are developing the smartphone based cancer detection app, for example, I am telling. So you are basically dealing with the, first of all, you are basically in the things in a spatial domain way. Okay, that there is too much. If you are dealing with the in vivo data, that means the live data. For example, you are capturing some image of some skin cancer lesion or some oral cancer lesions. So basically, what is happening in the spatial domain? Your signal is being convoluted with the noise, unwanted signal. Now you think that this is it. What are the possible ways? If we go to the reverse problem or reverse or any other map it in the any other domain, so what will happen? So what are the opportunities you have in your hand? So use your common sense, use your intuitiveness. Look, if we go to frequency domain, so what will happen? It will become the multiplicative format. So basically, we are using the trick of convolution theorem. So this is the X, you are going back reverse, spatial to, whenever requires spatial to frequency domain, whenever requires frequency to spatial domain. Okay, so going to frequency domain, doing the Fourier transform, you are basically taking the benefit of making the signal and noise in a multiplicative format. Now noise becomes easier to remove, because in the convoluted format, whatever the hurdles you face to remove the noise, once you becomes the multiplicative format, it becomes easier to remove it. So these are the ways. Either you always think about what's next, either you go by finding x, either you club the different domain together, x plus y, either you given hammer you find all the nails, or given nail go back to the hammer. Okay, or make the analogous approach. In this domain, if this happens, if I map the same problem in other domain, what will happen? Or think about the reverse procedures. Okay, like I give the example that if you are facing hurdles in spatial domain, go to frequency domain, see what can happen. Or if you are in the frequency domain facing hurdles, come back to spatial domain. Convolution theorem is there to guide you. So whatever you are learning in your basic study life, because at the end of the day, you guys are engineers. So be use the presence of mind. Be smart, use the presence of mind, you can tackle a lot of problems. Okay, so that's the way, that because in the real world you have to use whatever you are learning, you have to come out of the book and you have to apply. Okay, and you have the good ambiences in NSEC. Lot of students involved in several amazing projects. You have the seniors like Sanket. Utilize those resources. That would be best.
Right. Next topic of discussion would be, there are many people, right, who say they want to make this, they want to make that, but they say that they cannot proceed because due to a shortage of money, lack of resources, lack of technical stuff, and all those, right? But apart, like with the experience I have, and I have seen many people who actually want to do something, they go and do it, right?
Right.
India is a country where you believe in jugaad. Dr.
Exactly.
APJ Abdul Kalam launched the first rocket when India did not have anything.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
He even did the Pokhran test when no one believed that India could be a nuclear superpower. So if from where he came, we are in a much far better place where we can do things. He has at least created a platform for us where at least we can think of.
Absolutely.
When there was a time when scientists used to say something in India and others used to say it's not going to work. But right now you have forums where people will listen to you. So if you tell that it's only about the money, you are not being able to go ahead, I hope you need to rethink again, and I would say that you are not giving your 100%. What's your say, Shobhusachida, on this?
Absolutely, absolutely. Nowadays, you see, if you see, the government of India is taking a lot of initiatives, and there are grants are available. DST is there to give you the proper grant.
Right.
Even there are a lot of hackathons are being launched by the ICT and MHRD and then collaborations with the Ministry of Higher Education. So there are always ample amount of the opportunities are there. You have to follow the right portals, but always what I mentioned, that remember one theme which was launched by MIT in 2013. The softwares are the new hardwares, which
Right.
has been adapted by Infosys by making the plural into singular. That software is the new hardware in 2017. The basic motto is that, you see, we are the people belongs to developing country. Okay, there are definitely there are fund crunches there. I agree with that, but we have to work within our limitations. So what are the ways that you, if you see the common sense, if you use your common sense, look, the more you will go by the hardware based approach, the cost will increase. So can we use, because nowadays it's an era of open source from 1990 onwards, if you see, thanks to the Linux community foundations and GNU free softwares, one of the most popular software from the GNU free contribution is R. Okay, so
Right.
basically due to this open source era, there are amazing developers who are continuously contributing those courses, and also enough amount of the software resources are there. So can we use those resources and replace the hardwares? Nowadays I'm just using some simple examples, if you see, because there might be some students from first second year also. So if you see nowadays, does all of us carry wallet? It is not mandatory like 10 years before, right? So we make the payments through Paytm, we make payment through Phone Pay, we make payment through Google Pay. So basically, if you see, we are basically converting the hard cash to soft cash flow, right? So these are the blessings, you see. There are ample opportunities that we can easily remove the hardwares and we can bring down the software. So see those areas whenever you are building the prototypes of your product. So see those areas, that how can you do the brainstorms, that how can you actually reduce the cost, or whatever the innovations you are planning of, how can you reduce the cost? So it will be much more effective way for your revenue generation purpose, as well as to build the prototype faster. Because as I told you, that now this open source era, people can do miracles, and that is what happening. And apart from that, as you all know, that there are, you can easily make utilize resource of the IoTs. You can easily make some low cost labs with IoT based approaches. So there are ample opportunities. Make sure that what is your passion, what is the area you want to explore. It's not like that everyone will be data scientist or cyber security expert. So first of all, identify your potential and then go along with that. But be always be in a collaborative mindset. Do not be too much rigid. If you want to do some hardware based innovation, but do not always be too much being rigidity in your mind, that I will only use hardware, I will ignore software. or because that will be a foolish kind of thoughts. So remove that. As I told you, that be smart enough, be adaptive enough, and adaptability will help you to make progress, because every 5 years innovation setups are being changed. In business process automation, what is existing in 2014, 18, 19, if you see, there was the robotic process automation. If you want to send 20,000 email per day, if you want to do the rigorous Excel, it works. Now you see the funny thing, what is happening. TCS in 2018 was looking for the 3 lakh. Basically, there was a job opening of 3 lakh people in the robotic process automation domain. They only found that 250 people only all over the India knows robotic process automation. So can you imagine, the job requirement was for the 3 lakh people. We talk about that people are not getting job, people are not being placed. 3 lakh was the job requirement, and only 250 people knows the robotic process automation. So that's the gap between academic and current in industry scenario. So we have to bridge those gaps. So be always touch with the communities, what the open source community, what are the new things are coming up in the market, what are the new jobs are coming in the market, will definitely come to know. So according to the Hindu the Hindu and your business standard, by 2021 there will be more 2 lakh jobs in India on the domain of robotic process automation. But in 2025, robotic process automation will be replaced by intelligence process automation. So can you see, there on an average every 5 years the skill setups are changing. So adaptiveness becomes plays a very pivotal role. So as per the requirements, you have to upskill yourself. So be always, as I told you, that you may have expertise on certain domain, but upskilling is required to, and in order to be adaptable with the what are the new innovations are coming up in the market. So be passionate enough, be adaptive enough, be open-minded. You will definitely going to excel in your life. And as Sanket said rightly, that we have the natural ability, inherent ability of jugaad. Okay, and that can going to help you a lot. Absolutely.
Right. The one more thing I would won't hold you back for a long time, since you are having already a long day. So one last question. I get to hear many of the times from many of the students who have been under me, like there is so much of pressure of assignments, exams, semester, labs, and all this. How do we innovate within this? And I say, keep try to solve these problems, you will come up innovating something, right? What are your say on this?
Well, so you see, definitely there will be pressures, like but we have to be parallel processor. Remember this in this era, industry 4.0. As you see, all the innovations which are coming up, all the platforms you are using, all those are the parallel processor, right? People always thinking about the parallel processing. So make your mindset in such a way that you can also by your mind can do the parallel processing, because definitely multitasking a huge load of multitasking sometimes makes you mentally tired, which can kill your innovative instinct. That is true. But in some extent, and I should not say in some extent, but you should appreciate and you should accept the challenge of parallel tasking. So if you be disciplined enough, and if you can make your routine in a proper way, you can do it. It will not take much time to solve any kind of innovative problems in your domain. Because nowadays, if you see the current syllabus and all those things, whatever you are studying, being CSE student, IT student, or EC student, so basically you have the data science courses in your curriculum, IoT courses in your curriculums. So whatever innovations, if you want to make, those will be based on those things, IoT or AI or data science. Or even if you see, if you are learning in the first year linear algebra, vector matrix, all those concepts are going to stay with you if you want to excel in data science domain. So basically those things are going to help you in your life. So nothing about ignoring something. Take the positive things on each and every aspects, and definitely assignments will be there, you have to solve it. But as I told you, that be smart enough, take the positive
Right.
thing on every aspects. Because whatever the knowledge are being circulated in your ambiences, try to make most out of it. It may happen that you have learned the complicated concepts of reinforcement learning or deep learning. That's fine. But if you go to interview and people ask you what is eigenvalue, what is eigenvector, if you can answer it, then they were not going to give you the job. At the end of that, is a very hard truth. And those eigenvalue, eigenvector concept, once you can grab it, once you are very serious about your first year engineering mathematics, from linear algebra you can
Right.
learn it. And whatever the concept, first of all, in feature extraction, basic concepts comes up from principal component analysis, and principal component analysis is completely relying on your eigenvalue, eigenvectors. So do not ignore the basics. Even statistics probability, if we talk about the Bayes theorem, conditional probability, right? So Markovian models, hidden Markov model, everything is based upon that. If you don't answer the conditional probability, people will not trust that you know much machine learning. It's like this is hard. Try to understand the hard fact. If you have the GitHub account, it's fine. If you are uploading project day by day in GitHub account, that's also fine. But life is not about picking up codes from GitHub. Okay, you have to, at the end of the day, you have to contribute by your own, and it only comes up when your basics are clear, you are confident enough from your heart, because these concepts are going to stay with you lifelong if you want to be a, if you want to sustain in the long race. And simple thing, one thing I want to add, I everywhere I mention that example. You all know that image, right? Image is in a matrix format, right? In first row ABC, second row DEF, in this way. So for n by n image, if you see, if you want to calculate the order of complexity, what will happen? So we write the code like for I equals to 1 to n, for j equals to 1 to, in this way. So this is a nested for loop, right? So what will be order of that will be n square. So you see, now it is just few minutes back I mentioned about the age analytics. We are dealing with the low processor devices, smartphones and all. So what are the ways to reduce the time complexity such that your algorithm can work on the low processor devices? So what you want to do, you just have to concatenate it, a b c d e f, horizontally or vertically. So we call it, in terms of linear algebra, vectorization. So what is now your order of complexity? Your order of complexity reduces from order of n squared to order of n. So see, these are the very basic concepts of the linear algebra as well as your data structure. So if you do not know them, then how can you expect that world will appreciate your efforts? Are you getting my point? This concept has been used. If you remember the convolution network in deep learning, there are in the end, in the last step, we call it flattening. We call
Right.
it flattening. Flattening is not a new concept. This concept was existing in the field of nonlinear dynamics since our Indian scientists know this since 1930s, 1940s. But those who are the godfather of AI, they are very, very smart. You see, who belongs to the top scientists from US and Canada, they're extremely smart, and that's why I call it you to be smart enough. So what they are doing, they are basically doing nothing. They are using the existing, whatever the existing tools in front of you, they are just repackaging in a new way. So repackaging in a new way made them godfather of AI. So can't you guys do that? Definitely do that. That is only possible with, if your basics are clear, you are smart enough, you are clever enough in positive sense. Clever enough is not negative sense. I am talking about in a positive sense. Okay, and as well as very, very passionate. Once you become passionate, philosophy becomes almost clear to you. So be your vision, make your vision clear in front of you. Okay, so at the this is the right day to tell that let us make a joint effort to make our science and technology blessings to human life. Okay, there are a lot of open
Absolutely.
challenges, open problems that in healthcare domain, in agriculture domain. So can we come together and resolve those problems according to whatever the best limited capacity we have? Because across the globe there are more than 80% people under the bottom of pyramid category, and in India it is more than 96% people. They do not have enough money to pay tax. Think about these scenarios, like somebody is suffering from cancer, somebody is suffering from diabetic retinopathy. How miserable will be their life? Because whenever see with some problem in society, we have certain tendencies, chalta hai chalta rahega, aisa to hota hi hai. Most of us complain, but there are very few number of solvers. So to make the digital India dream come true, please be solver. We come together and let us make a promise that we will be in the team of solvers, and we will do our best with our best of capacity to make science and technology towards the blessings of our society. That's it. That I believe that if we can follow this motto, that is the right day to make a promise to each other that let's work together, create impact on bottom of pyramid, create impact on billions of lives.
Absolutely, it was great having you, Sabyasachi.
Thank you so
And
much.
yep,
Thanks for inviting.
one last thing I
Okay,
would say,
sure.
one last thing I would say, as Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam had a dream of having a great India, having the young minds to innovate, let's all try the best that we can actually make his dream true one day. I know India is right now not in the position to make his dream true because we are not doing enough. That's my opinion, right? As a student, as a lifelong student, because I always say I'm a student because I learn. I always learn.
Absolutely,
Everyone needs
absolutely.
everyone needs to innovate, and I don't think there can be a better day to have a discussion like this. And yes, thanks to Netaji Subhash Engineering College for allowing me to host this session and to take such a great initiative on the National Innovation Day. That's the birthday of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. And yep, I will be signing off. And yep, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you.